I love Orem. Wow, it's such a great place to live. I come from a family with rich family history connections to Orem. My dad graduated from Orem High School. I've had three kids go to high school in Orem. And if you go far enough back, I have an ancestor that was a leader in the very first LDS ward in Orem. And so Orem is intersected with my life in many ways. And I came back here a number of years ago to teach at Brigham Young University. And that's what's brought me back to Utah. And this has been a marvelous community for us. My professional life has really focused on a few different things. So I have a private sector career. I've been a management and leadership consultant with a number of organizations, helping communities and organizations to think about how they can perform well and really thrive. I had a public sector career. So for some time I was in Washington working with the federal government. I was a policy planner there. That was a meaningful part of my life. And most importantly, I've been involved in education for a long time. So I have been at BYU for the past 8 years. I teach courses in government there. I've taught at other institutions of higher education as well. And I'm just really passionate about leading students to think critically about great issues and helping all of us to understand how governments work and how good governance happens. I'm really passionate about understanding why some governments don't work well and others seem to really serve their citizens well. That's something that has been an interest of mine for a really long time. Since I've been back in Orem, I've had some great experiences in public service. I've been, for the past 4 years, on the Natural Resources Sustainability Committee here in Orem, which is a citizen committee that engages actively with city government. I've been on the Utah County Good Governance Board, thinking about ways in which we can improve the quality of governance across the county. I've been a coach with Orem Youth Soccer for many years and have just loved the opportunity to engage with all parts of the city and people of all age groups. It's just been a real, meaningful part of my life. I've also done policy planning, and I've also been on a school board. I was an elected member of a school board, and that was a great part of my life in public service. So I come to this place really thinking about how can I help Orem thrive? How can I help build a better Orem, given what I've seen and done in various parts of my public service career, as well as my professional career? And I have a personal purpose that I actually drafted a purpose statement a number of years ago that has been a guide for me as I think about the choices that I make and what matters to me. And it really has 3 pillars to it. I care a lot about ideas, and I really am committed to bringing innovative ideas into government. It's something that I spend a lot of time studying and reading about and want to practice as well. I also really am deeply invested in people. I love the idea of human capital and understanding what makes people thrive. And so investments in people are really important to me. And I've always tried to make them throughout my career. And then finally, I'm a big believer in building strong communities. Communities that enable people to trust one another, to feel attached and have a strong personal identity in their community. Those are things that are important to me because I value that in Orem and in my own community. And so finding ways to help communities thrive and to empower everyone within those communities is a key part of my personal purpose. My priorities as a city council member are many, but I want to focus on 3. So my very first priority is thinking about how do we get more people in Orem to feel like that they have a meaningful role to play in the way we govern the city. I have been really impressed with my time on city committees here in Orem, with the many opportunities that citizens do have to play a role in the way we think about key issues in the city. And I want to extend those opportunities. I want people to feel deeply empowered that they have a role to play and that they feel that they can make a change on issues that they care about. So that's my very top priority. When it comes to spending, and that's a key part of the City Council's role, I feel very strongly that we spend responsibly. I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe in only spending what we need to spend. And I think about spending as an investment. And so my priority there is to always ask the question, what is the best possible investment we could make with taxpayer money? What will have the greatest returns to the people in the city and to the city as a whole? And so being very responsible on spending and being conservative in the way that we think about the hard-earned tax money, right, that people contribute to the city is really important to me. So that's my second priority. The third is neighborhoods and public spaces. One of the reasons that I'm running for city council is that I think we have real opportunities to focus on strengthening and preserving our neighborhoods. What that means to me is that we help people in neighborhoods to identify with the space that they live in, to feel that they are active and engaged in it. And I hope that we will have a chance to offer neighborhood grants as a city so that specific neighborhoods can go through a process by which they can exercise local control and really understand what makes their neighborhood great and what could make it better, and that the city government as a whole could support that. Public spaces are part of that. And so the quality of our recreation opportunities, parks, trails, those kinds of things are very high priorities for me. And I'm going to look in the context of the city council for any opportunity that we can have to make sure that our public spaces are as lovely and attractive and popular as we can make them, so that people get out and about and really enjoy the city as neighbors throughout their neighborhood parks and throughout our larger public spaces. Yesterday, I was at the Orem Rec Center. I worked out in the morning, and as I was leaving, I just noticed these marvelous north-facing windows that looked out over Mount Timpanogos, and it was kind of a misty day. And it was absolutely gorgeous. And I had a feeling at that moment of how lucky I am to live in a place like Orem. It was a meaningful experience for me. And so one of Orem's great strengths is where we are. We're surrounded by enormous natural beauty. We have access to so many resources. And I love that about being here. But undoubtedly, the most important strength that Orem has is that we are a collection of 100,000 people that bring enormous talent to a small city. We have people here that live according to very strong personal values systems, that they invest in one another. And our strength is really this combination of people that have accumulated here over time, right? And moved here because they love this place and have so much to give back. So that has got to be our greatest strength. We also have done really well compared to many other communities in the country and the state in terms of cultivating an environment for business to thrive. We have more than 5,000 businesses here. They're here for a reason, right? This is a city that appreciates the contribution that they make, and it has allowed us to do a couple of really cool things. It has allowed us, first of all, to weather a pandemic much better than many other communities. Our tax base is solid. We have a budget that I anticipate will be supported by that tax base for a long period of time. And it gives individuals who grew up here and come to school here and move here an opportunity to support their families and to do remarkable things. And so we've done better than many other parts of the state and the country in being able to really nurture a competitive economy. And then finally, one of the great things about Orem is we have the largest public university in the state of Utah. What a marvelous asset that is to us as a community. We have people that come here from all over that bring talent and insight and innovation to our community. And just down the road, we also have the second largest university in the state of Utah, BYU. And the combination of those two communities intersecting in Orem has made this a place that has a lot of energy. It's made it a place that has a lot of really educated, talented people, and a great group of people that can really bring Orem into the next decade in ways that we probably can't even imagine yet, right? But there's a great deal of energy and creativity that we can harness with those public and private universities. Well, there are times, certainly, where I think we could do much better. That combination of strengths that I believe so strongly in has some caveats to it, right? When I talk to neighbors and friends and others about what they love about Orem and what they wish could be better, there's a list of things that we could do better. One of those things is that we have an opportunity to really strengthen our identity as a community. The way that Orem developed and really created a lot of commercial space has been a strength of ours. It has also led to some challenges in terms of how we think about ourselves as a community. And so I think that we have a need at this particular period in time to really invest in the quality of our residential experiences, really invest in our neighborhoods, help people understand what it means to be a citizen of Orem. There are a lot of people in this city that don't quite love living here as much as I do, that don't quite identify as much as a citizen of Orem as I do. And because that's such an important part of my life, I think we have an opportunity to strengthen those community identities a bit more. We are doing better at supporting our public safety workers. I think there's still some room for improvement. We could do better in supporting our city employees for the great work that they do. And so I honor their service and hope that we as a city council can do a better job of recognizing that service. I do think that we need more parks and fewer parking lots. I think we need more trees and less traffic. Those are things I hear and things that I feel as I live here. And so as we think about what it will take to really bring Orem to the next level, finding ways of really bringing citizens together to create the kind of space in which they want to live, strengthening our city government in ways that allows us to have greater efficiency in the way that public services are offered, as well as creating an environment where everyone feels safe, everyone feels like they have a government in the city that is watching out for them and will support them as they make choices, individual choices, based on their freedom to thrive. And so as we move to the next year and beyond, really investing in those neighborhoods, really investing in those public spaces will help us build a stronger sense of community identity. Much of the role of city government is to think about what the right choices are and the right policies. But there's a process that I think is maybe even more important. about how we get there. I have a real personal commitment to telling the truth. Integrity is one of my highest values. And if I represent the city, I will always tell the truth. I might get some things wrong, and we'll find ways of remedying that. But we start from a position where we always tell the truth to the citizens of the city, whether it be good news or bad news. There's a process that I commit to as I engage with the city and city government. And it starts with listening. We have multiple stakeholders when we think about a difficult or divisive issue in this city. When that happens, I think the best thing that a city council member can do is really listen to everyone who has a stake in a particular outcome and do his or her very, very best to understand what is at stake here and why do people feel the way they do. Starting from a position of listening is something that's important to me and something that I can commit to on the city council. Once we understand and we really listen to understand, we can do a better job of bringing people in to be creative and building solutions together. This is a government that can bring people in with ideas that we don't currently have, right? And the challenges of coming years are really going to demand that creativity. And the local understanding of what's going on in a particular neighborhood is critical for us as we go forward. So building creative solutions together is another key part of that process. And then finally, empowering every citizen is my ultimate goal. I want every citizen to imagine what Orem can be. I want us to be creative. I want us to think about a future that preserves our values and preserves the very, very best things that Orem has offered to me and my family and to others, but finding ways to get people involved that are not historically involved in city government. I really want us to learn from the caucus system, for example, which many of the citizens of the city have participated in, and bring neighborhoods and precincts together to really think about how do we make choices together. I want young people at our universities to feel like they have a voice and to really share that voice and be invested in the outcomes of their city government. I want our Orem Youth Council to be much more involved, bringing high school age students into a government. And I want people of all age groups, all ethnicities, all religions to feel like they have a stake in the outcomes of the city. And that's my commitment as someone who would have an opportunity to shape the process. We need to do better than just allowing people a few minutes at a public hearing to share their thoughts. We really need to get people invested, understanding the issues, and participating in things like citizen committees and in places where they can really help shape our outcomes. If you want to know more and understand what I care about and what I believe, you can go to my website, which is betterorem.com. And I really do believe that a better Orem is right around the corner.